Yeah, so last time around, we did throw up a quick poll just after our most recent video and asked you guys what you wanted to hear about next. And a couple of things which came up were both succulent care, but more specifically, what to do when you've got frozen or damaged succulents.
Yeah, so we've got big temperature drops here in Canberra, so it gets down to about -8 degrees Celsius. So we do sometimes have succulents that get affected and get frozen, but fear not.
Yeah, so if you do actually end up getting damage to your succulents after a freezing period, just bear in mind that if there isn't too much substantial damage, you can actually sometimes save the plant by following just a few simple steps.
But first, we're going to tell you why that frost damage actually occurs.
So as we know, succulents are really beautiful plants which tend to store water in their leaves, which basically helps the plant live and have nutrients provided to it.
Yeah, so the problem when temperatures drop below 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit is that the water in the cells can freeze. The problem with this is that the volume of ice is greater than the volume of water due to differences in density. So why could that be a problem?
Yeah, so what effectively happens here, guys, is you get frost coming through, and if it lasts for long enough, the succulent cells basically burst and it kills that part of the plant.
Yeah, it's important to take into account of this when you're actually putting succulents outside in your garden, as we've found, because you can kill them. However, there are still plenty of really hardy plants that we've got in our gardens that can still thrive in these conditions. Also, make sure to keep a lookout for our new video, which is going to be related to frost-affected succulents, isn't it, bro?
Yeah, so we're basically going to be talking about a whole bunch of succulents which we grow in our own garden here, which can take sub-zero temperatures and a bit frost resistant and frost tolerant.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll be able to get some tips from that and maybe plant them in your own gardens.
So now we're going to talk about the symptoms of frost damage, and in this particular case it will depend on the type of damage involved, won't it, Gareth?
Yeah, so there's probably two different types. The first type is a light frost, so that's when you've got freezing temperatures for roughly about an hour. It's enough time to do damage. Essentially the tips of your plant can get frostburn then, they'll shrivel and they will wilt. And we'll put an example up of that above.
Yeah, so the other option here as well is more of a hard frost. So in this particular case, it's a longer lasting one, typically kind of over the full night or at least a decent stint of time. And in this case, what you'll find is the entire plant will basically turn dry and crispy in appearance, which really doesn't look too good, does it?
Not the type of crispy that we're after. And we definitely have, we'll have an example to put up as well here. And even in the most extreme of cases, you may lose the entire plant. The plant you'll find will be on the floor essentially and have turned dark. And why would that be?
So it can basically collapse because the tissue is softened to a point that it can no longer actually have the integrity to keep it upright. So pretty bad when that happens.
Not great. And we do also have a video on how to look after succulents in both cold and wet conditions, if you do need any further tips.
Yeah, so we'll throw a card up here for it, as well as adding a description below. Check it out.
Make sure you check it out.
So now we're just going to quickly chat about what you need to factor in if you're trying to revive a succulent with frost damage.
Yeah, so if the succulent was exposed to freezing temps for a short period of time, its chances of survival are excellent. You probably just need to give it a little bit of pruning and the plant should be salvageable.
Yeah, so in contrast to this, if the succulent was exposed to freezing temperatures for more than 24 hours, or if you've had snowfall on it as well, the survival rate here will be much slimmer.
Yeah, all hope is not lost though. First check if the plant matter below the frost damage is still green. If the answer is yes, there is a chance that you may get it to resprout in the spring. So now we're going to talk about how to treat frost-affected succulents, aren't we, Jared?
Yeah, so as we mentioned earlier, basically the thick leaves of succulents store a large volume of water, as do the bodies and the stems.
Yeah, and if those areas are frozen or affected to freezing, then that can cause massive cellular damage, both inside and outside of the plant. There are multiple varieties these days, though, of hardy succulents, and they should recover given the appropriate care, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so if you do have a frost-affected succulent and it's been damaged, we recommend that you follow the 6 steps after this, and yeah, hopefully your succulent will be all okay. As mentioned earlier, the thick leaves of succulents store a great deal of water, as do the plant bodies and stems. Freezing of the plant causes these areas massive cellular damage both inside and outside of the plant. However, many succulent varieties are remarkably hardy and will recover if given the appropriate care.
Firstly, bring the plant away from the frost, snow and freezing temperatures which cause the damage. This can be done by covering succulents with a frost cloth, or you could bring them indoors. Otherwise, place them in an environment that will protect them from further frost damage. Good examples of this would be under your eaves along the side of your house, or you can put them closer to other plants.
So once you've taken your plants away from the frost or snow which has damaged the plant, you'll now need to wait it out for a few weeks and make sure you can see new growth coming from your succulent. Succulents go into dormancy at different times and stop active growth. This dormancy can actually help the succulent overcome being frost damaged.
Once you see new growth, you can start the real work. First, start by looking in the centre of the plant for any new greenery. Once it's visible, you can confirm the succulent has survived the frost damage.
So once you've confirmed that new growth has started coming from your plant, you should grab a clean blade. The reason for this is to avoid unnecessary stress on your plant. Now what you'll want to do is cut off all the parts of the plant tissue that is soft or has turned brown or black. You may want to use rubbing alcohol to sterilise the secateurs with alcohol between each cut.
Next, feed and water the succulent as you normally would during its active growing stage.
Finally, the last step you'll need to do is just wait it out a little bit longer and continue to look after your plant. Only time will reveal if you have been successful with your efforts. If the succulent continues to get new growth, you have succeeded. In contrast, if the remaining leaves become discoloured or soft, your attempt to revive the plant has failed. So thanks again guys for watching, and if you've got this far we really appreciate it. And what do they need to do, Gareth?
Yeah, so make sure you shoot us a like. Subscribing is even better. It definitely helps us with all the algorithms. Anything else you can think of?
Yeah, so just if you do have any suggestions around content or anything you'd like to see on the channel, just pop it down in the comments below and we'll endeavour to try and get that content to you guys.
Hope you have a lovely week and we'll have a new video for you soon.
Cheers guys.